and welcome back. So, Fire Country Season 4, Episode 16 finally exposes a pattern the show has been quietly repeating for years, and once you see it, it's hard to ignore. Formula is simple: the show introduces a compelling arc, hooks you with high stakes, and then slowly twists the story in increasingly ridiculous way, all to make sure Board comes out looking like the hero. It's happened before with his drug confession, his return to Three Rock, his attempts to join Cal Fire, and even recent storylines like the Zabel Rich Fire. And now it's happening again. This episode not work the risk sets up the next cycle with Board aiming to becoming an REM's team leader. On paper, it actually starts strong. The writing feels self-aware for once. Luke openly calls the exact issues viewers have been noticing. Board isn't ready. He's impulsive, driven by ego, and has a track record of putting people in danger. Whether as a firefighter or as a person, nothing about his past suggests he should be leading an elite team. For a moment, it feels like the show is finally ready to confront its own flaws. But then the trick begins. The turning point comes when Board is given a body cam and sent on a rescue mission, essentially setting up controlled situation where his action can be reviewed later. And just like that, the show creates the perfect opportunity to manufacture a heroic moment. Because here's the problem: anyone can look good when they are known they are being evaluated. A single mission, especially one framed through selective footage, doesn't prove leadership. Body cams don't capture the full reality, angles can mislead. Context gets lost and conveniently. Board even turns off his camera at one point, which allows him to secure that big dramatic moment. It's a neat trick, but it's also a flimsy one. After seasons of watching this pattern repeat, it's no longer convincing. What makes it worse is how the episode resets nearly every character, almost like the show is clearing the board before heading into the next season. Eve, for example, moves on from Francine with barely any emotional processing. Almost immediately, there's a hint of new love interest. There's no time spent dealing with the fallout, just a clean, convenient transition that skips over the messy parts of real relationship. Jake's storyline feels even more disconnected. Out of nowhere, he's engaged to Violet, a relationship that has barely existed on screen. One moment she is just another presence in the background, and the next they are planning a future together. There's no build up, no investment, and as a result, it's hard to care. If anything, it feels like the show is asking the audience to accept something it never properly developed. Sharon's arc follows a similar pattern, though it's handled a bit more carefully. After mourning wins for a month, the show teases the idea of her dating again. Thankfully, it doesn't fully commit to that direction because it would feel far too rushed. Even the hint of it feels premature given everything she's been through. Then there's Manny, whose relationship with Camille continues, though it doesn't carry much weight. The more interesting development is the arrival of Roberta, Gabriel's mother, who at least brings some tension and unpredictability into the mix. Still, the lack of updates about Gabriella makes the storyline feel incomplete. By the end of the episode, the pattern becomes impossible to ignore. The show brushes past inconsistency, resets its character, starts fresh, all while positioning Board for another undeserved rise. That's really the core issue here. It's not just that the writing is inconsistent, it's that it relies on the same narrative trick over and over again, and once you recognize it and the illusion breaks. There are still moments that work. The mudslide sequence, for example, is genuinely intense and feel like something out of a horror movie, and some of the lighter, more familiar character bits still have a certain charm, but overall this episode feels like a turning point and more like a reset button. And now that the formula is clear, it's hard to believe in it the same way again. Thank you for watching.